Okay, so hello and good morning, or afternoon, depending on where you're at. My name is Erin Wagoner, Corporate Partner Services Specialist with Chime Foundation, and it's my pleasure to welcome you all to today's online focus group, Accelerate Your Data Science Agility with a Modern Healthcare Data Lakehouse. Today's session will be hosted by Healthcare Triangle. Before we get started with the introductions, I'd like to cover just a few details. If you're having difficulty listening to the live audio stream through computer speakers, teleconferencing is available. To display the teleconference instructions, click on the Communicate menu and your audio options will be there. As this is an online focus group, active participation is expected at from our Chime Foundation partners. I'm having a rough morning reading today, guys. Our Chime Foundation partners spend a great deal of time preparing these sessions, and your feedback offers significant value. The impact you share, the input you share helps these firms come away with a better understanding of your needs as CIOs and how their products, services, and solutions can better address those needs. This benefits health and care across the industry. At the end of the session, please be sure to take a few minutes to complete the evaluation that will be emailed to you. It'll come directly from me, Erin Wagoner. Your feedback is valuable for future programming and will include a prompt for your honorarium information. As a reminder, you can take that honorarium in the form of a personal check, apply it to your Chime membership dues, or donate it to the Chime Education Foundation. Okay, now that I'm done awkwardly reading that, we'll do a CIO roll call. I'm going to give a call out to you. And if you could just give me your name, title, and organization, I would really appreciate it. So top of my list is Michael Patucci. Michael.
Yes, hi, I'm Mike Patucci, IT Information Security Auditor for Kirkpatrick Price, former CIO for a healthcare group in upstate New York.
Welcome, Michael. Next, I'm going to call on Adrian.
Hey, good morning. I'm Adrian Rodriguez. I'm the Director of Information Systems Technology at the Rutgers Cancer Institute of New Jersey.
Welcome. Good to see you. Next, I'm gonna call on Jim Brady.
Hi, Jim Brady, VP and CISO at M Health Fairview in Minneapolis, Minnesota.
Welcome. Next, I'm gonna call on, let's see here, where's my list? Anupam.
Hi, Anupam Sule, Medical Director, Outcomes and Quality, former CMIO at another hospital, St. Joseph Mercy, Oakland.
Welcome. All right, next we're going to call on David Baumgartner.
Good afternoon. This is Dave Baumgartner, the former CIO at Union Hospital in Dover, Ohio, part of the Cleveland Clinic system. I then joined Cerner as an executive director, client leader, and retired about a year ago, and then joined a consulting firm implementing Cerner in a large network of hospitals.
Welcome, David. Next, I'm going to call on, let's see, who do we have here? 1, 2, 3, we got full house today, guys. Jim Hall.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Jim Hall here. I'm from Phoenix, Arizona with Mountain Park Health Center, Director of Technology and Digital Services.
Welcome.
Pleasure to be here this morning. Thank you.
Next, I'm going to call on Kate. Welcome, Kate.
Good morning, Erin. I'm Kate Pierce. I'm the Chief Information Security Officer at North Country Hospital.
Good to see ya. Next, I'm going to call on Michael Archuleta.
Hey, good morning. This is Michael Archuleta, Chief Information Officer with Mount San Rafael.
Thanks for joining us. All right, let's see. Next, Nathan Gibson.
Hi, I'm Nathan Gibson, Chief Information Officer at Quality Insights out of Charleston, West Virginia.
Welcome. Next, I'm going to call on Sumesh.
Hey, Ryan.
Oh, are you there, Sumesh? I think you muted yourself.
Hey, Aaron. Hey, group. I think I lost the audio for a second. This is Sumesh Segar. I'm the Chief Technology Officer for Regional Health Command Atlantic at Fort Belvoir, Virginia.
Welcome. I think last but not least is Sam King. Sam. Are you on mute, buddy? You're on mute. You're on mute.
I've been known for triple muting myself, so I don't say stupid things. So this is one of the examples. Hey guys, Greetings from Kansas City, Missouri. Sam King, Chief Innovation and Information Officer at the Care to Caregiver.
Welcome. Is there anyone I missed? If I missed you, please give me your name, title, and organization. Oh, all right. Well, great. Thank you everyone for joining us this morning or this afternoon. I know for some of you it can be a little bit early, but we do appreciate you. And now I'm going to turn things over to Damian David with Healthcare Triangle.
Good morning, everybody. Hey, thanks for joining. It's good to see some folks that are familiar faces I've been able to talk to and kind of collaborate with in the past, and hello to the folks that I haven't met yet. Again, really appreciate your time. I think I'm going to try to talk as little as possible. It's more important for me to hear from you folks. These focus groups are really invaluable, not just within the network of people that we're going to be speaking with and hearing from in the focus group here, but also for organizations like myself, Healthcare Triangle. We have two different halves. The one half, we focus on enhancing and optimizing and helping clients squeeze the most out of their EHRs and surrounding HIT systems for professional services. On the other side, a great interest of ours is getting clients to the cloud safely and effectively, leveraging it for everything from infrastructure to also data analytics, intelligence, et cetera, of which is our main focus for the conversation today. New on the horizon here, people are starting to get their feet wet into the concept, is data lakehouse. And that's what we're interested in finding out. Who's already doing it, what some of the interests are, who's ramping up to get ready to do it, what some of the challenges, what some of the obstacles might be, theories, visions, et cetera. So real quickly, just to kind of frame what it is, I think I speak to people who are already doing data lakehouse, and they know way more than most people in the world of data and analytics. But I also spend time talking with people that may understand, they've heard it, they don't necessarily know what it is. So to just kind of ground level set here for everybody, I like to just kind of sum it up. In essence, data lakehouse is really, it's just data lake, which we were all probably familiar with by now, but on acid. And realistically, acid is the actual, what we've stolen from all the benefits of dealing with data warehouses of yesterday, be able to apply that to the cloud space of the data lake. So it's the best of both worlds of data warehouse and data lake. And what we see is a natural progression and evolution from trying to work with what the EHRs or HIT might have as far as data analytics tools, breaking that out probably about two dozen years ago now into data warehouse technology, and really getting at the data a little bit easier to work with, et cetera, to transition into utilizing some of the cloud technologies on a more scalable architecture infrastructure, make it a little bit more open. Lost a little bit in that transition. We're trying to get back to that acid and more of the transactional concepts of making sure that the data lands accurately, safely, et cetera, into the data lake. So that brings us to where we're at now in data lakehouse, which is again the best of both worlds of the data warehouse, data lake. Okay, and if anybody else has any better descriptions of what it is in their mind, I'd love to hear it. Obviously, that's what we're here to do, is just to kind of learn from everybody as we go along. With that said, again, it's great to see some folks that I've met in the past. It's great to meet new people. If there's any questions that come up, whether it be on the questions that'll pop up from screen to screen here, or even if you want to kind of take off into a different direction, I'm open to that as long as the full group is. I'm just here to moderate and to maybe ask some questions, plant some seeds, and to get people talking. So again, Damian David, thank you very much for your time. Any questions before we get started? Okay, let's have at it. So first question. What challenges are hindering the success of your data lakehouse initiative? And I expand this. This might not just be a direct data lakehouse initiative. If you guys have any overall overarching data or analytics or some sort of metrics or dashboarding that you're trying to do for your organization, open up the conversation. Nobody has any challenges with data analytics at this point?
This is Nathan. I'll be happy to kick this off.
Thanks, Nathan. Appreciate it.
Yeah, the main challenge we have is the ability of what we can do with the data that we have, because we're a federal contractor. We operate under a lot of challenges and what we can do with the data based on our data use agreements, business associate agreements, and that sort of thing. So we want to provide better value for our customers and be able to do more with the data, but it's just such a challenge on what we can actually do with it.
So you're meaning you have different compliance and regulations with different clients? Is juggling that's your major issue?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. How about some others? And I can probably pick on some folks because I like Adrian, I see you smiling there. I could probably, I know you have some challenges maybe, or you had in the past. Where you at?
Well, definitely, we've definitely encountered challenges, and basically we were going down, or are going down a path of establishing a lake house. We were trying to improve on our data warehouse, and I started reading about lake houses, and it was like, that is what we need. And we've gotten a pretty good bit of the way along, but still, no matter what, it's just having both the technical experience, or expertise on staff, and having, the subject matter experts in the various, modalities that we're working with to help develop those data products, because we have a few BI developers on our staff, but they just know how to work with the various tools, Power BI, R, Python, but you still really need to understand the data itself when you're trying to develop something really effective.
Yeah, thank you for that. That's
This
great.
is Dave Baumgartner. I want to echo Adrian's comments there for a community hospital. Just having the staff and the modalities and on your team to architect and develop these tools is a challenge.
So you don't have full gaps. I think what it sounds like is you have some great talent. You just there's some gaps in what the competencies or even the experience probably to kind of get or overcome challenges without having to have a learning curve involved. That's
Exactly,
what
and actually forward thinking on analytic needs. Defined things can be easily put together, but thinking out of the box and developing new technologies, that's new information sources, and for what we need, that's a challenge.
Fair. I think Kate, you unmuted. Are you ready to?
Yeah. I was just going to say, I'm from a smaller community hospital as well, and we moved our EHR to the cloud back in 2015. And, so then we literally rely on our vendor to provide the data back to us in the data lake. So it becomes even more challenging. We actually built our own internal data warehouse just from stealing all of the HL7 messages before we send them on, so that we've got some ability to be more flexible with our reporting and making sure that we can meet all the requirements we need. But I think community hospitals are in a situation, especially like, I don't know how many community works clients there are, but it's continually growing, and just the lack of control over what that data looks like, and it is, to me, a huge challenge, and for our staff to be able to have the access they need to the data.
So you've created a data warehouse to try to break out of data restrictions and limitations, it sounds like.
Right. So what we do is, like, every HL7 message that passes actually gets posted to our internal data warehouse. So, if everything from ADT to immunizations, visit histories, all the ORUs and ORMs, and every message that passes is rich in data that we may or may not get back from our vendor, in their cloud instance. So we kind of started creating our own to supplement that. We also can do a lot more with our data internally, like creating downtime, downtime processes and things like that. So I think we're probably pretty young as far as using that data for more business initiatives. Right now, we're still trying to catch up on the requirements that we have to meet with our data.
Gotcha. So a lot of that's still internal to the EHR, would you say, or are you starting to marry that with outside information from other sources too?
Well, we're actually starting to marry it with information from our state HIE, so that we can meet some of the initiatives from the ACO. So, I mean, we're pretty early on in that, but it's been a challenge, and just validating the data, when you're dependent on your vendor to supply you information about various data points. Sometimes, what they're giving us back doesn't make sense. So, just making sure that everything that we have is valid, it's just a huge lift.
Yeah, thank you for sharing. It's appreciate it and appreciate the insight. I know, I think when people are leveraging, especially EHRs that are kind of more of a standard turnkey like you're almost at the force of either the EHR provider or the other communities that might be leveraging the same type of platform, because the autonomy isn't as diverse as it sometimes needs to be for data. Interested in hearing from other organizations, like maybe Jim at Fairview, not necessarily a community hospital, more of a health system in my mind, or a growing one. What types of data analytics challenges do you face, and what are some of the mechanisms and strategies that you've kind of put into place to challenge those?
All right, trying to get off of mute here.
Thanks.
Yeah, trying to get an answer on the Lakehouse initiative, because I think we do, but I wanted to just get a little bit exactly more on it. So I'm still pending that response. I should be able to get some info shortly, but otherwise, I think our two biggest initiatives for in the data analytics space is, one is to modernize our warehouse. So we're a large Epic shop. And so just foundational basic stuff. I think we still need to do some of that. We do use pretty heavy users of Power BI, so we have a lot of integration with that. And secondly, just trying to take advantage of AI and machine learning to reduce the total cost of care and through things like sepsis and readmissions and surgical admissions, et cetera. So I think it's a lot of basic block and tackling at this point that we're looking to accomplish. And we recently, as of July, merged. We had a really large project to merge two health systems together. Fairview Health Services is the name, but we actually are made of two health systems, Health East and Fairview. And so Health East kind of was brought under Fairview and acquired a few years ago, and so they're assuming the Fairview name, but we've had two separate EHRs. So there's a little bit of complexity there, but anyway, we did finally merge the two Epic instances, so everybody has the same workflow and reporting needs and things are now a little bit better. So yeah, so that's my quick update. And when I get the Lakehouse initiative info, I'll jump in and share it.
Yeah, no, thank you for the insight there, Jim. Appreciate it.
Yeah. And Damon, this is Mike Petrucci. My previous position as the director for that physician group, the issues that we had were that we were part of a community connect. So we really relied on not only the vendor who was Epic for that, but also our community connect partner who really controlled a lot of that information. And the other challenge that we had was just that we had so many of the legacy systems that our providers were still trying to pull information from. So that was, always a challenge, because just of the size of the team.
Yeah, thanks for that input. All right, I'll give about 5 seconds and then I figure we can transition to the next question. Any last minute?
Damien, this is Sam.
Yes, yes, Sam.
Hi, just quick sharing. Our major challenge now is the appropriate leveled staff. We used to have a good team with a couple of super sharp analytical person with programming skills, but above all, the business knowledge, understanding healthcare, be able to talk to business owners, line of business leaders saying, you want X, you really mean Y. And this is how the data can support you, how you modify what you're looking for. So they work very well, but unfortunately, the recent changes in staffing, and we're looking for a few people to, fill the gap, and also to look for new technology can reduce that kind of reliance, like self-reporting, stuff like that, or AI, more on prescriptive and predictive side of that.
Gotcha. So it sounds like you were doing well, lost a couple key people, and are looking to maybe get some things in place so that you can continue the progress moving forward
Right.
into not just analytics, but it sounds like you like Jim are looking for ways to actually improve overall operations and then care for patients and care delivery as well.
We don't have a Lakehouse initiative. We do have a data ocean initiative. So
okay,
that was a joke. That was a joke. Nobody called data ocean.
A little bit bigger than a lake, you're saying. Yeah. No, I got you. Excellent. Thank you, Sam. I'm going to transition to the next question, and we'll get a chance to hear from some folks on that. What digital transformation tools does your organization use to automate the process of curating data into a data lakehouse? And again, you can replace data lakehouse with data warehouse. We got into some, I think, Kate, you did a good job kind of summing up what you're trying to currently do. What other different tools are folks leveraging or looking into leverage for this type of work?
I mean, for us, we have both Informatica for the more complex situations that we have, but then if it is a simpler ask or a specific or problem that we're trying to tackle, we do make use of Power BI, because even built into that, there's some pretty decent amount of transformation tools.
Yeah, it's great. Power BI is becoming more and more popular. I'm hearing a lot of the utilization of Power BI. It's a good option.
We also utilize Power BI. This is Dave.
Thanks, Dave. All right, I'm gonna bump to the next question and keep going. Thank you, everybody. How is your organization responding to the need for advanced and smart analytical tools that can analyze the wealth of data in real time with speed, reliability, and accuracy, and place it in meaningfully onto actionable visual management dashboards? Okay, this is starting to speak to when you see the speed, reliability, accuracy, that's really bringing the ASIC concepts of the data warehouse into the data lake area, which gives us the data lakehouse. So that's kind of the ask of the question here. I guess, and it's fair enough too for folks that are like, well, we're just dealing with it. Like we have data warehouse and it's not on a scalable open platform, but it is doing enough for us at this moment. That's a fair way to answer too.
For us, we're still in the middle of really integrating this, like within our current environment. We have a private cluster that's hosted in the university's data center. And within that environment, we've set up tools such as RStudio Enterprise and things like that, so that people can integrate with R, Python, Jupyter Notebooks, et cetera, to work on the data. But also, and this is the part we're working on, is the university has a high performance computing cluster that, there's a nice highway between where that private cluster is to there. And we're working out those details as to how to most effectively integrate that.
Gotcha. So you're underway. Thank you, Adrian.
We pretty much rely on Cerner to provide that information. They have Lights On Network. I see their affiliation with Oracle now being a positive for us and being able to get some more accurate, better information on those dashboards. But they're actually pretty extensive, and those are the ones that we've been using as far as dashboards right now. Just drilling down to, per provider, those are very effective in identifying who's struggling with their EHR and trying to identify who needs assistance and where they're struggling, and what our IT department or informatics department can do to assist them. So those are the ones that we've been using, which is, I don't know that it's uncommon, but for a community hospital, I think it's pretty common.
Thanks, Kate.
And for us, we're using RStudio Workbench along with Shiny Server for this area.
Thanks, Nathan. All right, let's transition to the next question here. What considerations will you make when deciding on solutions and partners to work with in securely converting your data into a valuable commodity with advanced analytical techniques? What's important to you?
How much of a lift does it take to get there, right? I mean, and when you're talking about, we're a community health center in Phoenix, and I echo a lot of the above, comments. So far as what the challenges are, we're not, we don't have high-speed computing clusters. We're not affiliated with any academic institution, but, we're a Power BI shop. We're in the cloud. Our EHR is in the cloud. But, when we've invested, and we've invested dollars in the technologies that we leverage, and then obviously contracts behind them, what is the level of lift that it's going to take to get to what this question is trying to answer, right? I think that's the first thing that comes to my mind.
Fair enough. Thank you. Guess let me pick on. I haven't heard from you, Josh. It's been a while since I checked in with you folks. Can you shed some light onto what's happening at St. Bernard's, and if you choose to work with partners, what's important to you in selecting partners or solutions to put into place for some of this data or advanced techniques? And I'm not sure if you're muted, or we might have lost you. So. Anyone else? How about you, Sam? I know it sounds like you have a situation where you're looking for building internally potentially to replace some folks that you've lost, or some talent you've lost. Is there opportunity looking for partnership to fill gaps in your journey?
Yeah, absolutely. So actually, we're evaluating an approach and look at different ways how advanced tools, program languages, or packages can at least offload our burdens. So yeah, great question, timing here.
Great, thanks.
I say one more thing. I agreed on the lift. That's a big portion of it, but also having models of return on investment to help, especially in the small community hospitals, to justify the cost.
Thank you.
I know for my organization, one of the key challenges is that since we're part of a state university, our budgeting is definitely very long process. So even if I want to partner with someone, if they're not already in the system, it can take a couple of years just to get things rolling. And by then you're on a new technology.
Yeah, fair.
Hey, Damien, I have a question for you, kind of.
Sure.
So do you support, or maybe what's your recommendation for an Azure data lake based approach versus a AWS centric with like Smile CDR for fire and things? Because we are in that transition. We started with Crystal reports, and then we've been doing the more of the Azure model, but we recently have made an agreement with AWS to bring a large amount of workloads over to there. And so we're trying to figure out what do we do with our data analytics platform. Do we leave it on Azure, which right now kind of organically started because we went ahead and moved with Office 365, so it just kind of made sense.
Sure.
But that's kind of a little bit in limbo. Yeah. So anyway, what are your thoughts?
Yeah.
On that?
So what I can tell you about that is whether it be Azure, Google, and AWS, they're all three public cloud platforms that have analytics, intelligence. They both offer, or all three of them offer AI, machine learning, natural language processing. Like those are all the underlying toolkits that you're going to probably want to leverage in the future coming years, especially as you try to get the information to tell you meaningful ways to positively impact your communities and your patients and even your operations, for sure. They all have their limitations. They all have what they're better suited for, meaning, Azure, I see a little bit less on the overall hardcore healthcare analytics on that as I do in Google and AWS. I think they tend to do more on those two platforms. Google has a Google Health initiative. It's mostly directly tied to the Meditech platform at this point, but they are trying to expand that. AWS just seems to be the most mature public cloud in terms of secure data analytics processing. It's been used in life sciences, pharma, probably longer than the other two. I will tell you that. But I think you're going to want to probably speak with people to understand the strengths and weaknesses of at least the Azure and the AWS, if that's what the considerations are. Because some people might be better to kind of leave it where it is. Other people, if they want to venture into AI, ML, NLP, and they want to do it securely, they might want to look at AWS to do that as a platform. So I don't know if that's helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah, for us, we're using Azure Cognitive Services and still kind of in the early stages of it, but seem to find it pretty useful even in the healthcare area. So
good to know. And I think, again, Azure is making some great progressions and movements into it as well. I think all three are going to be good places to do any types of data analytics and trying to use your data for more meaningful reasons, but they do have different flavors. So
yeah, have you found that, because I know we're also in a transition from Oracle to SQL, just to get a little bit more nimbleness, but maybe that's because we're dependent on the Azure data lake model, which we are, by the way. I did find out we are looking to go in that direction at this point. We haven't really started it. But any thoughts on the flexibility that SQL provides versus if you're like a straight Oracle tethered kind of a shop.
It's in my opinion, it's a step more towards open operations, but that's a good question. I want to refocus that to the rest of the group too. What are your thoughts on that? Even for folks that never had experience with Oracle, perhaps when you were faced with making the decision, why would you go one direction instead of into Oracle as well? So.
Well, we certainly, within our organization, we certainly moved away from Oracle, transition everything to SQL, mainly due to the licensing structure of Oracle, which was just crazy. So we moved away from it.
So the easier lift, as Jim spoke of.
Yeah, certainly.
Okay, good to know that. Anybody else thoughts? I think it's a safe space. We're not going to publish anything, so it's not going to get out here. Oracle versus SQL. We have lighter lift, just easier to kind of get arrangement, get that in place, and then also probably a step in the more open direction. Yeah, you probably have more options in the SQL world.
Yeah, I have another, it kind of more as a challenge, so it maybe answers the earlier question, but but do you guys work with organizations and how do you guide them on going for more of a vertical data, data analyst group, like developers and analysts, where they do everything from soup to nuts versus make it a little bit more horizontal, where it's more layered and right, and so one person doesn't necessarily do everything, because right now that's kind of where we're at. So it's more of a cultural thing, but how does that fit into the data lakehouse model, and how much do organizations need to change the actual structure of their engineers and developers and things, so that they're better aligned to be more agile and be more efficient and productive?
Yeah, that's a good question. And I think fundamentally the main answer is you don't have to change anything, but you do if you want to take the full advantage of what the different advancements will offer you as far as potential, right? I think you summed it up. It's been very verticalized, even from the EHR option solution space, right? They've all had their own tools and you're kind of locked into that. To get a little bit more vertical, you do want to find some, it's a combination of base level tools to allow you to break out of from having to be either a systems admin or a data engineer, et cetera, to taking on more of a, from the operational aspect. If you have like a business unit owner, potentially, if they have the tools and a little bit of aptitude, they can really get at more at what's going to answer their questions versus, I need a report that has this and this and this on it. And then, 2 days later, they get it back and they're like, well, that's not exactly what I like. That could be a cumbersome process that we're used to in the past. So I think ideally you're on the right path. You want to get more horizontal. It does take a combination of what are the best solutions that's going to work for your team. Who's on your team? What are the resources that you have in play? How do you need to develop that team in those different roles to be able to take on some of that lift of the actual, how do you configure the analytics for your personal operational needs? But in return for those challenges or overcoming those challenges, you get more meaningful reporting, analytics, dashboarding, just you're using your data versus just at this stage of the game. I like to think that we spent millions and millions and millions of dollars on getting data into electronic form, and we're just starting to use it in a meaningful way, right? So that's kind of the evolution. I don't know if that answers your question, but yeah, we do work with people. It is a journey, and it is, part consultative, part like augmenting, what do you have? What don't you have? And then eventually growing ourselves out of having to be there, that just comes with the learning curve.
Yeah, and you mentioned operational tools. I'm not trying to hog the time here, but I just throw out a couple questions if I had them.
Sure.
So are you seeing FHIR being like the CI/CD, the main operational tool that organizations need to kind of form around in order to push the digital theme forward, or is there like another couple of different tools out
Yeah.
there?
Unfortunately, FHIR is not doing it all for everybody. It's a really solid concept. Like ideally, it was if it was perfect, it would basically open the doors and be able to cut across any types of limitations that you have just from different technologies coming together, right? It's supposed to open the doors, bridge the gaps, etc. But FHIR is still a little bit immature, so it's not the end all be all. There are still other APIs that people tend to try to open up between technologies to get them there. It's a good start. I think there's still a lot of I think a lot of what is happening is it's kind of a bracing or a resistance of all the vendors involved to actually give up control or access, and that's really what's really limiting FHIR, in my opinion, at this point. So to answer your question, yeah, it's a good start, but it's not the end all be all. There's quite a bit of other APIs that people are opening up and trying to find ways to pull more data that doesn't come through the FHIR pipeline. Hope that helps.
Yes, thank you.
I think over time, there's potential for FHIR to be more of the end all be all, but I mean, we're still working with HIEs that haven't really matured enough to really benefit the regions that they serve either, right? So there's still limitations, and that's a 14-year-old concept. So
what's the alternative? I mean, or alternatives?
Alternatives, I think it's development, right? So it's working directly where you can with the different technology or vendors that you want to pull the data from, landing it in a safe spot that's secure, that can remain autonomous for the different organizations that are involved, and then being able to have a safe shared ground potentially where you can apply algorithms or your research logic to be able to pull from the data sources that might be independent in nature for an overall bigger picture. We think of it as like we call it neutral zone, which is just, it opens the doors not just to your own business units that might be competing internally to your healthcare organization, but it also allows to collaborate with other healthcare organizations or payers or life sciences or clinical research, that type of scenario. So let's hit the next question here. Are your data and digital strategies effectively assisting your organization to better provision healthcare services, improve patient engagement, enhance personalized care, optimize operational costs, and increase top-line growth? What do you wish you were able to do better? I think we have some ideas from some people where they're at with this, but I did want to see if we could expand a little bit further and see where people are at with this. Are you realizing improvement? Are you able to use your data in a meaningful way to actually improve the overall operations and the quality of care for your communities?
I'll chime in here as far as when on the provider feedback that I had heard in regards to the implementation of different processes and procedures for them to get to enter information and what we're doing with the information. And again, I got to preface this with, it was a physician-owned group, which was very financially aware of everything that they were spending. And they did not feel that the costs were worth it. They felt that that the amount of quote unquote big data that we were trying to gather was slowing them down and and adding to their overhead and not providing the results that they really were able to how they would say see more patients. Now, if we added in patient outcomes into that, I don't think they were doing that. So I think that's where I think some improvement can be done is some way of really showing how this information, how gathering this and putting it together is really improving patient outcomes, because that's the area that the providers really didn't believe that it was happening.
Yeah, they couldn't see it. They only felt the pain and the bad. Yeah, Mike, thanks very much. That's great insight. I appreciate that. Anybody else have any examples of where they're actually leveraging their data and information to kind of propel them into directions where they feel operational improvements, quality of care, quality of what it is that they're providing for their communities, or anything holding them back from doing so?
If we adjust this question just a little bit, because for us as a cancer center, we're both clinical and research, right?
Sure.
So, but we're also partnering with a health system. So the health system has more responsibility with the clinical side, while my group is more responsible for the research. So have the efforts that we've done with the data that we've acquired helped like some of our population health groups and things like that? I think yes. We can answer that. Yes, it is helping that. But but we're still a long way from being able to truly use it to improve patient engagement and things like that.
Thank you. So you're starting to see some good results. You got some ways to go, but that's fair. Good. Excellent. Thank you. Let me progress to the next question here. Is your organization ready to share patient data across the secure HITRUST certified data platform for collaborative data analytics and insights? And I think that's more of how many folks are in organizations where they're finding the need to bring their data in a safe manner and collaborate it with other outside, whether it be other health networks to provide some sort of consortium over a region, or to payers to better study and understand how they could be better for their communities, or even life sciences for any of the clinical review, clinical research, et cetera, those types of scenarios.
Yeah, I can respond real quick to that one. So we don't really require HITRUST either in data or security or privacy, although it certainly is, good if you can get it. It's just not everybody can get it on the vendor side. And then a lot of the folks on the provider side, since you have to pay for it, take another routes like we're using NIST at this point. I'm not sure what else we're requiring in order to certify for collaboration, but I can be interested to see what anybody else is doing in that space.
Yeah, and I would echo that as well. I mean, we're certainly utilizing NIST 800-53, not necessarily have any sort of HITRUST, certified, but which has an overlap in NIST anyways. But yeah, the same scenario with us as well.
Well, this is Kate, and I think, as a security officer, one of our concerns is just keeping track of where all of our PHI exists. I mean, the more we share data, the more risks that we are incurring. So we also use NIST. We haven't gone with HITRUST, obviously, for cost reasons, but it just seems that, more and more people want access to our data, and it's just becoming much more difficult to track where that data lives and how it's being used. So as we expand the use of patient data, I think we have to be very thoughtful about the security aspect and the PHI security.
So it sounds for the most part that everybody's kind of got a baseline. There's definitely some protocols in place to make sure that they're secure in their data and their data transmissions. It also sounds like there's a balance of cost versus scale of what that is, and then also it sounds like there's a natural progression towards having to understand better where they're at risk, and then making sure that they take the precautions to make sure that their risk is as low as possible for what they're able to afford. Is that fair? Okay. All right, let me progress to the next question here. We only have about 8 minutes left. So, obviously if there's something that don't come up or we haven't talked about that people have questions about or wanted to mention, we can be flexible enough to shed some light on that. I welcome anybody to kind of chime in. But for the next question we have, how soon is your organization ready to build a data lakehouse platform that enables digital acceleration and agility? Does anybody, sounds like Adrian, you're kind of on the way, you're started. Anybody else have any plans for this? Or Jim, sounds like you're starting to think about it. There's a future there. You just don't necessarily know the timeline.
Yeah, definitely well along the way. And for us, especially, just to go to Kate's point, when we have people who need to access the data and we want to give it to them in a secure manner, one of the other tools within the Lakehouse is we provide virtual desktops where people are using those tools on top of the data. So even if it's large data sets like genomics or anything like that, pathology images, it's very responsive. They're able to do what they need to do, and the data stays there. If they need data to be removed, then they have to request it, and we do that for them. So it not only gave immense tools to our users, but it also helped with the security aspect.
Thank you, Adrian. Yeah, it's a huge point. Is making sure that nobody's taking anything out of the confines or out of your control to do anything with, right? So. Okay. How can a data lakehouse platform help your health system do more valuable analytics? Benefits like improved data reliability, decreased costs, better data management, etc. This is the last question we have here. So I guess this is the ask of this is, if you were to go down the road, what would the expectation be? What would you have to get out of it? What would be some of the wins for you?
Yeah, I would think from my end, the cost to have this platform, would it just, what's the ROI on it? And then what do we do with the current investments in what we do have if we're not using healthcare triangle? Yeah.
Would it be fair to say that getting more out of analytics over the next 5 to 10 years is something that you'll have to accommodate with what it is that you do in healthcare? Or do you think that you can sidestep it altogether? Or where are people at as far as that type of mind frame? Is it a necessary evil?
I would say absolutely. You have to be able to, because, you know, we have all this data that's out there, and unless you're able to convert it into something that's actionable, you know, something that can help people make the decisions, then why do you have it, right? So, I think being able to develop insights out of the data, you know, through analysis, through, the curation process to clean it up, is very important.
Thank you. And to that point, does anybody feel like they're there, like they have everything that they need, or is everybody pretty much wishing that they could use the data more effectively than what they're able to do or what they're doing currently with organizations?
I mean, I'd love to use our data more effectively, but I think, you know, it's an organizational culture type thing as well, because, you know, when you have the data and you have a group of organizational leaders that may not be taking advantage of the data that they have, you know, so there's a lot of this stuck in the old way of thinking. And so I think, you know, we need to do a better job of communicating out, hey, you know, how we can make that data actionable. You know, we've worked, especially with nursing leadership, to develop a nursing scorecard for each of the nursing floors. And so there's some pieces that are really moving forward with it, and hopefully getting that initiative to kind of change the way people think about how they make their business decisions is kind of a, you know, what we're looking to do with it. You know, as far as decrease cost, I don't know, you know, how, obviously we haven't put a lot of cost or a lot of resources into our data aside from, you know, pretty standard stuff right now. So I guess having those costs decrease would be kind of next to impossible.
Thanks for the insight. I think, yeah, that's a fair statement. You need to have you need to empower a culture of progress, if you will, for them to embrace it. Sam, how about you?
Yeah, I was just thinking, have a physician or nurse champions to be point person, have them advocate for the use of data and also the benefits of data. That helps a lot and speak volume of what you can do from IT standpoint. Everybody knows that analytics and data will help. It's just a matter of, like Katie was saying, the culture, but also seeing it, right? Feel it, seeing it. So using small project to win and gradually, you know, have a reputation, build a success and go from there. And then your culture is changed, and from top down, bottom up, everybody realize, hey, this is good and we need to do more.
Yeah, great, Sam. Small projects, small wins, small victories, growing those into larger victories as you go. That's a good concept. Any final comments here? I know we're coming up at time here, and I really, again, appreciate everybody's participation. It's wonderful to spend an hour with you folks. Wish we had more time. Eventually, maybe someday we'll have the opportunity to do so. But again, I wanted to make sure that everybody understood how much I appreciate you and the participation in this. So thank you very much.
Yes, thank you.
Great
And I
session.
just want to remind everybody, keep an eye out for my email. It should be coming to your box for your honorarium information. And thank you so much, Damien, for hosting. We do appreciate it.
Yeah, no, a pleasure. And again, the value in the information and what we've shared, just really appreciate it. It's high value to me. So thank you very much. And everybody have a wonderful rest of your day and rest of the year here.
Thank you. Bye now.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you.